As tensions in the Middle East continue to escalate, energy is no longer just about short-term supply or fluctuating oil prices. Crises like this are a stark reminder that energy security today is about resilience, the ability of a country to withstand external shocks and maintain stability. And in that context, that shift toward renewable energy is no longer just a sustainability agenda, but increasingly a strategic necessity. So could moments like this become a turning point in how countries like Malaysia rethink and strengthen their energy systems for the future? Joining us today, this morning, to unpack this is Coach Chuan Zhen, Group CEO and co-founder plus Xnergy. Coach Chuan, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. With the conflict in Middle East, US-Iran is escalating now. How should countries rethink energy security beyond just a short-term supply concerns?
I think the country need to broaden the definition of energy security. So in the past, we focused mainly on whether do we have enough fuel supply. But today, especially with this war, we found out that energy security also means how resilient we are, the affordability and also the self-reliance. So especially when a geopolitical conflict disrupt the key supply chain, it shows how vulnerable a fuel importing country can be. So I think the real answer here is to build a more diversified system with more domestic, I would say, renewable energy infrastructures, storage, a stronger grid, and also a better regional cooperation, for example, like ASEAN grid. Yeah. So I think these are those are few important factors for us to look into this, because I think the real key things here is about today, the real energy security is not only just about the supply security, it's about the resilient security, as what you highlighted just now.
Yeah, and this is a complex and also a complex issue in that sense, in terms of implementing this transition. But does this crisis reinforce the urgency for countries like Malaysia to accelerate renewable energy and also at the same time reduce dependence on external energy shocks, even though it is not an easy task to do?
Yeah, definitely. I think every crisis, it will always remind us on something. And this crisis definitely is a very strong reminder that a country like Malaysia, we cannot depend too much heavily on external fuel market. Yeah, officially, Malaysia Energy publication note that about half of our power generation is all depends on the import fuel, especially on the coal and also the gas, which expose us to price and also the currency fluctuations. So when we accelerate solar storage and other local clean energy resources, we are not only reducing the carbon emission, it's not just for ESG agenda itself, but I think today we see a different meaning of it, which is we are here to protect our country economy from the external stock. That's why we are able to see that some couple of countries, for example, like China, they are spending like about 30 years to build the whole country infrastructures. And during this war, they are one of them who have a very least this negative impact. I mean, like the rest of other countries who highly depends on the energy, the fuel import from external country. So I think today renewable energy is not just about a clean energy policy. It's not just about a green policy. It's no longer just about a climate change action plan, but it's also a national risk management.
And national risk management is very interesting that you brought that up, because you give an example for China. China has one of the biggest countries with bigger scale in terms of economic background and the ability and capacity. It took them 30 years to build the infrastructures that you mentioned just now. What are some of the biggest gaps for Malaysia, especially, still needs to address if it wants to, renewables energy to play a stronger role in national energy security?
Okay. I think Malaysia, actually, we do have quite a clear target. Yeah, including like 40% of renewable energy capacity by 2035 and 70% by 2050. But in order to make renewable energy as a stronger pillar for national energy security, we need to close several gaps and also the obstacle. First is about our grid readiness. Because more renewable energy actually need more flexible and also more modern grid So which means the grid actually we need to upgrade it to a smarter grid, like smart grid. I think this is what Malaysia, especially at Peninsula, that what we are working out strongly right now. I think it's something more important, and we need to close the gap as soon as possible. And the second part is about energy storage. Yeah, so energy storage, I would say, is a kind of the new agenda just happened, I would say, since last year. And this year, we started to see there's a lot of different company, or let's say a lot of these entity, even though the end user from home, from factory, started to deploy energy storage, even though at the grid level. So energy storage is essential to manage those intermittency, and also to manage the demand side and also supply side, especially when one country is heavily depends on renewable energy. The whole country, the grid infrastructures will be quite uncertain if, let's say, we don't have a storage as a capacitor role to manage the demand side and the supply side in a smarter way. So the second pillar for energy storage, it definitely is a must. The country need to come out even feel more those a couple of those incentives, probably to stimulate the market to have more adoption of energy storage. Yeah, so this is the second part. The third part is about the execution speed, including the approval, the interconnections, the project delivery. Yeah, I think this is quite there. Just right now, we need this to be get even faster. Yeah, and also the skill had to be even bigger. And last but not least, we need to have stronger market design on the economic side, and also to get more demand on it. Because I think it's for this national agenda, it's not just on the government side, but it's also we need to design some policy on the private side. For market, would like to invest in it, and also the regional connectivity. Yeah, for the entire system, as what I mentioned just now, like ASEAN grid, I think right now we see more meaningful for it. Yeah, so it can operate like Europe. Yeah, as one of the example. Yeah, so that's why I think those are something what we see is very important for us.
You mentioned about the market, the willingness and also the market openness in terms of adapting towards this transition. Where are we in terms of that? Because if we have a policy like NETR, for example, at the end of the day, this private sector should also take actions in that sense. I believe they do take actions. But where are we in terms of that? Are we on the right track?
I would say we are just started, because in terms of a smart grid, it highly depends on the national grid operator like TNB. In terms of energy storage, it just get like tenders to install this best battery energy storage system at the grid level, and on the factory side, it just happened like us. We have like about up to about 100 megawatt hours of best going to install, and also under constructions in a couple of those buildings, factories, or even though like Malaysia airport, yeah, at the same time. I think it's there. We need more awareness because of this energy crisis. We have to write on it, to leverage on it, and also to get more people to see it's important, and also the concept of a security and energy resilience structure is what we mentioned just now. Because this crisis is not just harm on the country basis, it's also it can impact on the factory on this company basis, even though for your home as well. Just imagine if, let's say today, your house comes with solar and also the battery storage. Yeah, and let's say, for example, you're driving EV, then basically you can self-sustain. You are almost reaching the energy independence. Yeah, you are not really highly depends on you will get interrupted by this global economic crisis. So energy independence is also one of the meaning of how we can see why we should need to accelerate the whole energy transitions.
You mentioned just now that the whole transition is not just about ESG anymore. It's about energy, country's security, basically, in terms of having energy supply and all that. But do you think that a crisis like this become a turning point for governments and industries to treat clean energy not just as climate agenda, but rather as a strategic necessity?
Yeah, this definitely is a crisis to be a turning point, a tipping point, potentially, if especially if compared with the Ukraine war that's happened a few years back. I think this round actually is even the serious level, the impact level is even much higher. So we have to utilize this turning point, Yeah, and also I would say clean energy. Yeah, we always discuss under those ESG agenda, climate change, sustainability. But I think the key word here is about sustainability. It's not just about the global zero emission, that kind of sustainability. There's also it will impact the operation of a country and operation of organizations, yeah, and operation for even though for a house. So during crisis, people will able to see immediately how this business and national security is, and it's important because without all this crisis, I think people for us, yeah, we no pain, no gain. I mean, no pain, no alert, and then you won't really have action. So I think it's a kind of the wake up call for us to have more diversified energy resources, and definitely it's a turning point. So I think for government and also the industry, definitely right now, especially this year, yeah, we have to really speed up. Yeah, it's like another COVID, but not really like treating the virus, but it's about the national climate change, national energy security agenda. Beside NATR, what else that we can do more and focus, yeah, to build up our energy, clean energy infrastructures to make Malaysia to be more resilient and even though more competitive and even though even more strong in self-sustained in energy securities infrastructures.
Yeah,